All right, get this. Scientists have made VR goggles, but, and here's the kicker, for mice.
For mice.
Yeah, tiny little VR goggles. You can't make this stuff up. We're going to dive into that today. We've got some excerpts from an article all about it. I mean, first of all, who thinks of this? And then, what are they even trying to figure out?
Well, from what I read, these MouseGoggles, pretty catchy name, right?
Yeah, doesn't
They're actually made from stuff you can just buy. Like they used smartwatch displays, tiny lenses, that kind of thing.
Really? So like a DIY VR setup for mice? That's wild.
Yeah, the researchers over at Cornell, they're pretty resourceful.
Well, hold on. Why even bother? Like, why go through all the trouble of making VR for mice?
It's all about studying how they act in virtual reality, but the old way of doing it with those big, expensive screens, not so good.
Not immersive enough, you're saying?
Exactly. These MouseGoggles, though, totally different story. The mice actually feel like they're in a new environment. It's way better for studying their spatial navigation and memory.
Okay, so it's like tricking their brains into thinking they're somewhere else.
Right. And to prove it works, they did this test, right? Picture a dark spot on the screen. It starts small, but then expands towards the mouse, like a predator's coming at him.
Oh, wow, that's kind of freaky.
Yeah. So with the old VR setup, the mice barely reacted, but with the MouseGoggles, they freaked out, jumped like they were in actual danger.
So the mouse goggles actually get a genuine reaction. That's pretty amazing. But wait, why is spatial navigation and memory in mice so important? What's the big deal?
Well, think about it. When mice build a mental map of their world in VR, we get to see how their brains work. And that can teach us a lot about what goes wrong in human brains, like with Alzheimer's.
Oh, so it could help us understand diseases better.
Exactly. And maybe even develop new treatments. I mean,
Right.
Think about the possibilities.
That is mind-blowing. Tiny goggles for mice could actually help humans.
Okay, but back up for a second. How do these MouseGoggles even work? Like, how do they make it so real for these mice?
Well, they track the mouse's head movements, in real time. Okay, yeah.
And then that info is used to change what the mouse sees in the tiny screens inside the goggles. So it's like they're actually looking around a 3D world.
It's like a custom-made IMAX for a mouse. That is just too cool.
It is pretty amazing, yeah.
I mean, if it's that immersive for mice, what could this mean for the future? Could we see this kind of tech used on other animals, even maybe humans one day?
It's definitely something to think about. I mean, we're still in the early stages here,
Right.
but this technology could completely change how we look at animal behavior, even how we understand our own brains. Who knows what we could discover?
It really makes you wonder what the future holds for this whole thing. Pretty amazing to think that such tiny tech could have such a big impact.
You got that right?
This whole mouse VR thing, it's definitely food for thought. Thanks for breaking it all down.
You got it. It was fun.
I'm still blown away by those tiny goggles, though.
Yeah.
All right, that's it for our deep dive today, folks. Until next time.